The story starts with a common boy named Dave, who no one knew in school. He had only two friends, Todd and Marty. Dave was not liked by any girl, but still he liked a girl named Katie very much. Marty was also fond of reading comic books. One day he was talking with his friends that till date no one has become a superhero in real life. Marty said that to become a superhero, one needs either superpowers or a lot of money. Then a boy named Chris came to the cafe, who was the spoiled son of Don Frank, a chess mafia. Dave saw that he was very rich but still always roamed alone. That is why Dave decided to extend his hand of friendship to him, Chris's bodyguard. After this, when Dave and his friends went out, some people in the street robbed them. Fed up with all this, Dave decided to fight against the evils himself. He ordered a green diving suit from the internet and went back. After tying 2 sticks, he started training so that he can become a superhero and help the weak people. On the other hand, Mafia boss Frank and his goons were interrogating a man named Trey at their base. Actually, Frank had given him to a Russian gang, had sent me to sell drugs, but Trey said that at the time of the deal, suddenly a man disguised as Batman came and attacked me and stole all the drugs. But the Russian gang had told a different story to Frank. He said that Trey himself captured all the drugs and gave them some drugs, that too at a higher price. Now Frank did not believe Trey's story, so he asked one of his men, Joe, to kill him. After this, we meet a man named Damon. Let's see the man who used to be a policeman. At this time, he was teaching self-defense to his 11-year-old daughter Mindy. He made Mindy wear a bulletproof jacket and opened fire on her, and then explained to her that it is very important to protect oneself. On the other hand, Dave was still working hard to become a superhero. But he was very afraid of jumping from the building. Then one day he saw the same goons who had robbed him. Those goons were trying to rob someone's car. Then he gathered courage and wore his suit and attacked them. But in the end, the goons stabbed him and ran away, after which suddenly a car ran him over, and then some people took him to the hospital in an ambulance and got him treated after a few days. Joe informs Frank that a man named Trey has again sold drugs to the Russian gang. Frank then realizes that the Russian gang had told him a lie. He gets angry and tells Joe to return the drugs he sent them. Next, the day Joe caught the Russian boss, he said that yes, Trey is still selling drugs to us. Joe put him in a big microwave and cooked him to death, while on the other hand, after Dave's car accident, metal plates were inserted in his body, and due to the injury to his nerves, his pain tolerance had increased manifold. Well, when Dave went back to school, suddenly Katie talked to him and asked him on a date. Hearing this, Dave was shocked. He flew away and told all this to his friends. Then Marty said that all this happened because the word had spread throughout the school that Dave was gay. Dave was stunned to hear this, and he still did not say anything because he was afraid of Katie. Apart from this, he wanted to get closer. He was also working hard to become a superhero, and he kept his name tightly, and now it was useful to him. At the same time, the people present there made a video of their fight, and they were sitting in a restaurant. Katie said that a boy named Rasul has been harassing her for a long time. Then Dave got angry and asked Katie to ask Cass for help. Finally, Katie agreed, and then at night, Cass came to threaten Rasul and his goons. He reached there and asked Rasul to stay away from KT, but the goons beat him badly. Then at the last moment, Mindy reached there disguised as Hit Girl and played kick-ass. She said that she is also a superhero, and then she called her father who had come disguised as Big Daddy. After this, all 3 of them together faced the goons, and finally, after eliminating everyone, Mindy stole all the gang's money and ran away with her father through the roof. Find out how. Dave also went after them, but he was afraid of heights. Eventually, Dave returned home and started crying because he was not a real superhero like Hit Girl and Big Daddy. Well, later Hit Girl and Big Daddy came to meet him in his room and praised his bravery. While saying that he too can become a good superhero, Big Daddy said that if he wants to be a part of his team, he will have to train diligently, and if he ever needs help, he will have a special kind of photo. After they leave, Dave gets excited about becoming a superhero again and starts working hard. Meanwhile, Joe shows Frank a picture of the day his drug stash was stolen. What happened was that Joe said that one of his men had taken this picture before he died. In this picture, Big Daddy's back was in it. But Joe and Frank only knew one superhero, and that was Kick-Ass. So they thought that it must be his work. On the other hand, Big Daddy and Hit Girl had kidnapped Frank's man Cody. They tortured him and got information about Frank's drug mafia and then finally eliminated. After this, we see that a man named Marcus. The police came to search Damon's house, where he found a lot of weapons. Then it is revealed that both Damon and Frank used to be policemen, but later Frank framed Damon in a false case and sent him to jail. This leads to Damon's wife. She went into depression, due to which she almost died. Then Damon started his training secretly so that he could take revenge from Frank. When he was released from jail, he also made Mindy his partner and started training her. While on the other hand, gangster Frank that a man appeared in the guise of Cass, and in a fit of rage he beat him to death, but later he realized that this was not the real Cass and he was completely shaken, while his son Chris was secretly listening to everything. After which he came inside and made a new plan. He said that he will become a superhero named Red Mist, like Kick-Ass. Then he will catch one of Frank's men doing drug dealing and will hand him over to the police. After this, he also will theirs. After winning his trust, he will join his team and then somehow he will be able to reach Frank. Soon Chris executed this plan and he also became famous in the media. After this, he went to Kick-Ass's page and talked to him. Few days later, both of them met at a place. Red Mist told Kick-Ass that he also wanted to help people by joining his team. Cass was very happy after seeing Red Mist's shining car, and then both of them came to Frank's warehouse. They reached there, but as soon as they reached there, they saw that there was a huge fire in the warehouse. They immediately went inside, but by then everyone was dead. Red Mist picked up the teddy bear from there and came out of the warehouse at the last moment. After this, both the superstars fall. The heroes went their separate ways, while Frank was watching all this from a distance. So he was very worried about his son. Soon, Chris came to the office and showed everyone the warehouse footage. In fact, he had placed a camera in Teddy Bear. Then it was revealed. It turns out that Big Daddy had actually killed all the men in the warehouse and set on fire. Frank then realizes that his real enemy is not Kick-Ass, but Big Daddy. Frank enlists Chris to use Kick-Ass to set a trap for Big Daddy. But on the other hand, Dave had given up hope of becoming a superhero after the warehouse accident. But one night he saw that Red Mist was sending him a lot of emails asking for his help. Finally, Dave changed his mind and once again wore the kick suit and went to Red Mist. Red Mist told him that he was being blamed for the deaths of the people who died in the warehouse. He said that now they have to prove the truth by catching the real culprits, and for this they will need the help of Big Daddy. Cass buys into his words and gives him a special signal that causes Big Daddy to come to his aid. Soon, Damon and Mindy notice this and call Dave to meet him at his base, after which Red Mr. Kick-Ass heads to his base, and Frank's men were also chasing them. When both of them reached there, Big Daddy got a little suspicious of Red Mist, but he allowed both of them inside. This was his biggest mistake, because Red Mist suddenly shot Hit Girl. Then suddenly Frank's men barged in and made Big Daddy and Kick-Ass unconscious. On the other hand, word spread on Kick-Ass's page that today Kick-Ass would show everyone his real face. Everyone was keeping an eye on him when suddenly there was a live video started playing in which Frank's goons had held Big Daddy and Kick-Ass captive. The goons beat them very badly and then sprinkled kerosene oil on Big Daddy. But at the same time, Hit Girl stood up. Actually, she was wearing a bulletproof jacket. He was wearing a mask. That is why his life was saved. He immediately switched off the lights of the entire base, and then wearing his night vision goggles, he attacked all the goons. But in the process, one of the goons set his father on fire. Big Daddy was walking badly, but still he kept telling his daughter the techniques to face the goons. Finally, after killing all the goons, Hit Girl extinguished the fire, but by then it was too late because Daddy's last hour had come. Hit Girl killed him heavily, said goodbye to her eyes, and later released Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass then took her home and calmed her down. After this, both of them decided to avenge Damon's death. Mindy reached Frank's office disguised as a schoolgirl. No one recognized her face, so the goons let her in. Suddenly, Mindy put a gun in the goon's mouth and shot him, after which she killed everyone one by one. Then Mindy wore her girl costume and went to Frank's room. She set out on the way and very bravely killed all the goons, but in the end she ran out of bullets, and the goons surrounded her from all sides, and finally she was about to die at their hands, when at the last moment she, wearing the kick-ass jetpack, came to save him and also had 2 machine guns on his shoulders, the help of which he destroyed the goons present there. Meanwhile, Frank and Chris heard the sound of bullets from their office and they thought that their goons were Cass and Big. They managed to kill Daddy, but suddenly Kick-Ass and Hit Girl entered the office and they were left frozen. Soon a fierce battle started between the two groups where Frank was fighting Hit Girl and Kick-Ass was facing Chris. Frank was very powerful and he was about to wipe out Hit Girl when Frank fired a missile at him from behind, due to which Frank went flying out of the window and his head got shattered in the air. Meanwhile, Chris picked up his sword and ran towards them. By then, it was too late, as Cass had flown away on his jetpack with Hit Girl. Eventually, Cass dropped her off at a safe place